Okay, I'm going to attempt to do a little makeup tutorial. Since I thought it'd be nice to show how I do my makeup and kind of teach you the basics and explain what I'm doing without any assumption that you know anything at all. Because I know I had to learn a lot of things through a lot of research, and it would have been nice to have kind of a basic introduction. I don't have a script, I just kind of pulled a makeup table out here and set up a light in my camera, so this is the first time I'm doing this, so I hope it goes fine. The first thing you want to do is have a clean face, shower if you haven't showered in a while, and you want to tie your hair back, just so it's not like getting on your face, because when you're putting on makeup you don't want to like smear it on your hair or have your hair stick to it and things like that. Just helps keep it out of the way. So I've just got an elastic hairband here. You can get this from anywhere. Pull your hair back and just tie it up. Okay. Now, if you have like leftover makeup on or just crud on your face, you're going to want to clean it off. You can use makeup removing wipes like this if you want. I've been told they're not the greatest for your skin, but in terms of removing makeup, they're the best. And the way that I use these is you just take one like this and start from the top and go around your face to get off foundation and concealer, lipstick, blush, all that kind of stuff. Can't really see, but there's like a little yellow tint or a little tan tint. And I usually go over my eyes just like this and my eyebrows. And then for like mascara and eyeliner, you'll want to kind of go along the edge of your eye and maybe go under like your eyelashes and kind of swipe up or like blink down onto the thing and also wipe downwards. This will get all the mascara off the eyelash. You'll be surprised how much stays on your eyelashes, and you can't just kind of like wipe it off like this. You actually have to go and like clean the individual kind of hairs. But anyway, I've kind of done all that already, so just demonstrating. You may need to use a second one. I do, usually, because I put on a lot of eyeshadow. So to get it all off, I use the second one. You can also use micellar water, which is going to be cheaper, and it's just kind of like a lightly soapy kind of water, and you get cotton balls or squares. I like the squares because they don't pull apart as easily. Just going to dip a bit on there until it's like, you know, fairly moist in the middle. Can't really see. And kind of do the same thing as you did with the makeup wipe. This can also be useful to get off anything that your makeup wipe missed, because I feel like the makeup wipes are stronger, but these are good for like just cleaning up the remnants, like the last 1 or 2% of makeup you might have on your face. It's good to get it off because you don't want it sitting on your skin for days or overnight or whatever, because it's gonna be bad for your skin. It's gonna like dry it out or get in the way of cleaning it, etc. And having a nice clean and clear face is the best way to start your makeup. So, other thing about skincare, you probably want to exfoliate your face once every, I don't know, few days or whenever you feel like it, because you'll start to get like little bits of dry skin sometimes, depending on your skin type. I mean, at least for me, you'll want to kind of get that dead skin off so that you have like a smooth surface. Then the makeup will kind of go on more even on a layer. It's kind of like painting a wall, right? You want to sand off any bumps so you've got a smooth surface to paint on, because you'll go over it and then you'll miss like just under the little piece of dry skin or whatever. So get a mild exfoliating, like a salt scrub, and just, you know, roll it over your face in the shower or whatever. You can also use toner. This is an alcohol-free toner, which I recommend if you're going to use a toner. You will use this after your cleansing, to remove anything that's still sitting on your skin. And I believe the toner helps close the pores and basically prepare it to become more canvas-like for your makeup. Although primer kind of does that too, I think. There's a lot of, there's a lot of science or science fiction going on right now. So you can do as much or as little of this as you want, but I would recommend that you kind of try everything and then either remove some things if you don't have time, or add things in if you realize that things aren't kind of working properly, until you figure out what works for you. And then that's how you'll come up with your routine. So I use this Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 spray. It can be used for prime, setting, and refreshing. Sometimes when my face feels kind of dry at the end of the day or in the evening and I still want to wear my makeup, I'll just spray a bit of this on. But for now I'm going to use it as a primer, so I'm just going to shake it up and close your eyes and give yourself a couple of sprays. Don't get it in your mouth because it doesn't taste good. Just going to let that dry. So the first thing I do is I start with my eyeshadow, because that is kind of the most complex part and it's easy to recover from mistakes at this point if you make any. So let me grab my brushes. Sorry, I forgot. Okay, so for eyeshadow I use these kind of fan brushes. So I mainly use this one. You can see it's not super duper thin, but it's more wide than it is thick, and it's about as wide as my index finger. Yeah, it's about that size. So it's about this size when it's on my eye. But for finer details, I also have this little fan one for doing like the corners and stuff, but you can get by with just this. So I'm going to be using this palette, which is called the Queen, Eloise, which is fitting. My name's Elle. So I'm going to open it up. So what I do is, I'm going to show you how I do my colors, but there's like a million other tutorials on how to do other looks and how to do more complicated stuff. This is something that I've just kind of come up with by myself. So do whatever works for you, I guess. So for me, I start with this color in the corner called Curtsy. So this is important, how you grab the pigment onto your brush. And some brands are different than others. Some are harder, some are softer, some may need a bit more humidity or moisture in the brush to actually come off, and you won't really get anything with the dry brush, but this works just fine. So I just swipe a bit on one side and swipe a bit on the other side. Now you can have a look at that. You can see there's a lot of pigment on that brush, and generally you don't want to go straight in with that much on your brush. You want to get good coverage, but you don't want to have layers of just straight pigment. So normally I'm at my bathroom, so I'll just tap it in the sink, but you can just kind of tap it. So anything that's loose is going to fall off. See, just like that. The reason you do that is to avoid kind of making a mess as you apply it, because if you've got this big bunch of pigment that's just sitting on the top, as soon as you put it on your face, it's going to be like a huge splotch, and then everything else is going to be lighter. So I start by applying it in near the corner of my eye and just kind of doing these small downward strokes. The logic behind this is you want to get most of the pigment off the brush and onto the center of the area that you want it to go on. Okay, because if you start swiping around straight away, you're going to get an uneven amount of eyeshadow. Okay, once you've got most of it on, then you can start to blend. So I'm just going to start pushing it across and back, and then you can start going back and forward like a windshield wiper. And then you can start to go up. You want to leave some space between your eyeshadow and your eyebrow so that they don't kind of blend into one thing unless you're looking for a more exotic look. like a drag look or something. I've got this quick color removal. It's called a color switch, or it's basically just a hard sponge for you to get the excess off. And I always do that even if I'm using the same color, just so that I get a consistent amount of pigment each time. So I'm going to go in, do the same thing on the other eye. So I'm going to grab a bit here, and then tap off the excess. And I'm going to lay that down, swap sides, because you want to get the pigment off both sides of the brush into the center of where you want the color to be, and then start blending. It blends better when you have less pigment on your brush, because you're just using the pigment that's already on your skin and moving it around, rather than smudging but also adding more pigment, which makes it less controlled. So then I'll take a look and see if it's kind of balanced, which it is, so that's good. Wipe it off again. Now that I've kind of got my main base down, I'm going to take my smaller brush and I'm going to take a darker color. So in this case, I like this purple color called Majesty. So I'm going to do the same thing, grab a bit on both sides, tap it off, and I'm going to hold it so that it's parallel with my eye's crease. So I'm going forwards and backwards out of the corner and blending it a bit there. And you can kind of tell that it's going to give more depth to the look. So I don't know if you can compare my left and right side, but you can see the corner kind of has more depth. So I'm going to do that to the other side too. This is one of those parts that if you don't have much time, you can skip. But I like doing a little darkness in the corner. Okay, now I'm going to do my secondary color for my signature look. So I'm going to take my main size brush again, and if I had a more electric blue, I would use that, but I've got this color here called Sovereign, so I'm going to grab that. This time I'm not going to tap it off because I want to lay it on really thick because it is a bold color. And I'm going to lay it on the bottom half of my eyelid here. Now the angle that you hold the brush is important. If you hold it like this, it's going to go higher than you expect it. If you hold it more horizontally, it's going to go where you want it. Instead of going higher. And this is important because I don't want to cover up the red too much. So I'm going to lay that down on the bottom half of my eyelid, switch to the other side, double layer it. Okay, bring it all the way in, and then kind of just feather it out, smooth it out. There's no hard edges. Now you can see I've got red up the top and then blue underneath. So I'm going to do the same to the other side. Okay. Just short downward strokes, getting all of the pigment onto there. Swap sides, get all the pigment from the outside of the brush. Just move it all across. Bring it all the way down to your eyelashes, so you don't have like a spot of missing skin there. And then just blend it a little bit. You don't want to mix the colors too much. You can definitely blend them with the seams of where the colors are, especially out towards the corner, for example, to get like a gradient kind of color where it transitions. But for colors that are complementary or opposites, you kind of want them to stand out to be more striking. So you don't want to blend them in too much. Otherwise you just get just one shade of the in-between color and you lose the effect. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm actually going to take my makeup remover and clean up under my eye. So a lot of that pigment has fallen down under my eye, and then clean it off with this can see there. Apparently you can avoid this by putting on some translucent powder underneath, and then you'll just be able to brush it off. But I haven't tried that yet, so I'm not going to put that into my little tutorial. This is just what I do. And this is the reason we do the eyeshadow before like the foundation, because if you had a whole bunch of other stuff on, you'd be taking it off with it right now, okay? So, and what happens if you don't clean it off? Well, as soon as you put on your foundation, those small specks of eyeshadow are going to get smudged and create like blue spots or red spots. So it's really important, especially with bold colors, to make sure that you clean up anything that's not where it's supposed to be before you blend in anything else. Okay. Now, I could add, if I wanted to, some more accents like some gold on the inside, or some pink to kind of give extra levels of color, but I usually don't. And at this point, I will do eyeliner and mascara. So I have this Tartist pencil liquid duo thing. I don't use the pencil side, I do use the liquid side, and it's just like a felt tip liquid eyeliner. The trick to getting good wings with these is, well, firstly, if you use it for a few months, you need to get a new one. You can't just keep using it forever. It will dry out, and it's gradual, so you won't really notice. But if you're having trouble with it, you might just need a new one. It might just be kind of dried out. So the way that you do points with it is by using the natural shape of the tip to create the point for you. So you don't kind of go out and draw a tip. You use this as more like a paintbrush than a pen. And you start with where you want the wingtip to be. And the way to find that is you follow the curve of your eye under here, and you go up, and then you just decide how long you want your wingtip to be. So I'm just going to go to about here. Have your eye about half closed. Lay it down, and then drag it across just above your eyelashes. Now, you can go all the way to the other end if you want. Just going to connect that up there, and then you can keep going over it until you're happy with the shape and so on. You can see that it's kind of straight when I look like this, but when I close my eyes, there's a little bit of a dip there, so I'm going to try and just smooth that out by connecting those shapes, okay? And if you want, you can also bring it down here to the corner of your eye. You can see every time I'm starting with the tip at the point of the wing. If you don't have steady hands, I mean, right now I've got my elbows on the makeup table, which helps, but if you're standing, you can hold your arm like this across your body and lean the palm of your hand on your face and go up to the mirror. So you're just kind of moving your fingers. You don't have to like control all of your muscles. That's a helpful tip. And you know, do it across your body. So you know, right hand on your left side. You don't have to use your non-dominant hand. You can do the same thing on the other side. You're just going to have to kind of get used to doing that. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. The thing with getting them even is start smaller than you anticipate wanting them to be. And then you can always add to it. It's harder to remove from it, but I can show you how to do that in a second too. So here. You want to make sure that the angle of your pen is right. If you're going this way, you want the tip to be where it starts and the rest of the pen to be in the direction that it's going. You don't want to go like this because you're going to bend the tip and it's going to flick up and make a mess. So hold it out here. Swipe across. Close your eyes a bit and connect it up. Bring it down to the corner of your eye. And you can connect this a little bit just so that it's all the way across. Okay. that's how I do my liquid eyeliner. Now, for my mascara, I use this just like grocery store Maybelline Lash Sensational. I find it's pretty good, but pretty much anything will work. Some brands will be clumpier than others, some brands will be bolder than others, some brands will have different shaped ones, and so on and so forth, so you're just gonna kind of have to find one that you like. Most of them do have like a curved kind of wand like this, and you want that to follow the natural curve of your eye. So if you're doing your upper lip, you want it to curve up like this. And what you can do is just bring it close, and you can swipe it up while you kind of blink downwards or blink your eyelid down, and that helps get the motion across. To get more of it on, you want to also go side to side, because you've got the liquid on here and you want to transfer it onto your eyelashes. You can dip again to get more. Pro tip, you can do multiple layers. You can keep going until it looks like you're wearing fake lashes. There's really no limit. I usually do 2 passes for each eye. One thing you can also do is just have it against your eyelash and kind of close your eye so that it's bending your eyelashes upwards, and hold it there for like 10 seconds. What this will do is help your eyelashes curl upwards. You can also use an eyelash crimper. I don't have one, so this is what I do. Also, it's kind of just something I already have, so I just use this. Now, the difference isn't super strong, especially not because the lighting's not directly on my face, but it does make the eyelashes look a bit darker and a bit more pronounced. So I'm going to do the other side as well. One mistake that is easy to make is going across the nose and then touching the stalk here onto your nose. So to avoid that, you can just use your left hand. You don't need that much dexterity, but it's going to be up to you if you have like shaky hands or whatever. You can just kind of bring it close to your eyelashes and then kind of blink down over it. You'll have to kind of just personally get used to how that feels. It's not supposed to hurt or make your eyes water or tickle or anything. You want it to kind of just barely touch your eyelid so that you know you're getting the brush over all of your eyelashes. What you will definitely have happen to you sometime is you'll have a bit of the wand accidentally poke you in the eye, or you'll have an eyelash poke you in the eye, and you'll instinctively blink and get some down here or up here or whatever, and that's fine. Mascara usually comes off really easily. You just take a Q-tip and dampen it. You can do this if you want, or run under a tap and just wipe it off. It'll come straight off. But while that dries, you kind of want to keep your eyes like half open so that you're not resting your eyelashes against your eyeshadow or down here as well. So just, let it dry. It doesn't take very long. Okay, once you've done that, I like to go in and do my lower eyeliner, and I just use this is a Revlon Color Stay eyeliner crayon. It just kind of, twists up. And, oops. I start from the inside, and you want to kind of trace along your waterline. So what is your waterline? Well, you can see, if you can see your lower lashes, the base of your water lashes is where your waterline is. It's the little bit of skin that is between your eyeball and your lower eye. You don't want to get it in your eye, just because it's going to be irritating. So the closer you get it, though, the better, without getting it in your eyeball. And sometimes I find it helps while you're pressing down to move your head instead of moving your hand, because it's easier to tilt your head to the right place sometimes. And I like to go over a couple times, just so it's consistent and darker. Okay. What you can do to clean that up is the same thing. You can just take a little Q-tip and wipe off any excess you don't want. You can't see it, but you just want to kind of have the same thickness on both sides, and you don't want it to be too smudged or messy, I guess. Just your mileage may vary. So that's almost my eyes done. The last thing I'll do, which you can also skip if you have time, I just take a little brush that I have dedicated for this purpose and a little, it's like white eyeshadow, it's highlighter or whatever. I take this one and I go in on the inside corner of my eye and just add it there. It just adds a little bit of a nice highlight here. Same thing on the other side. Okay, so now I will move on to my skin, my foundation. So you can use concealer before your foundation if you have blemishes that you particularly want to hide. I don't really have any. I mean, my skin is mainly, I have like splotchiness in like different patches of color, so I use foundation to kind of even that all out. And I have a little, like the remnant of a wart here, but that's mostly covered up by foundation. So there's lots of different foundations you can use. For trans women, I recommend a liquid one because that's going to be better at neutralizing like beard shadow and giving you a bit more coverage so that you can kind of focus on your look without, because there's a lot of foundations you can use, some which are just light coverage to kind of give you that no makeup look. So I mean, it's really up to you as well. But what I've found works for me is NARS. This is the Sheer Glow Foundation in Mont Blanc. Now these are kind of expensive. These are like, I don't know, $40 or $50 each, and they last, I don't know, maybe 6 months. So I know you're going to be really kind of anxious and nervous to go into like a makeup store, but you really want to get someone to help you match your skin tone so that you can get the right color the first time. Otherwise, you're going to be spending like $100, $200 on products that you're not going to use, and it's going to be a waste, really. And the way they match your skin tone is they will put a bit on like here where your face kind of connects with your neck, which is kind of like your average skin tone, rub it in and see if it blends in with your color. There are lots of different colors. It's not just light and dark. There are undertones, whether you have cool or warm undertones, whether you have more like an orange or a blue undertone. There are, lots of different variations. So I would definitely recommend not using like online skin matching tools. You can try, I guess. But the best thing is to go in person and to have someone help you. Sephora is definitely very trans friendly in my experience, so they'll be more than happy to help you with that. So here's mine. It needs to be shaken up. I use a beauty blender. The biggest mistake that you can make with this is not dampening it. It's been a while since I dampened this, so I'm going to go dampen it again really quickly. What you do is you just run it under water, squeeze it so that it gets completely saturated, turn off the water, and then squeeze out the excess water. So it should not be dripping. You should not have a layer of liquid on the surface, but when it's damp, like it has the same amount of moisture as your skin, it's going to transfer better. Because if it's dry, it's just going to basically act like a tissue and just take all the makeup with it and absorb it. So I'm going to go make this damp again really quick. Okay, it's damp. I have a little egg holder here that I put it in. But the way that I apply foundation, okay, so I'm going to take it off liquid. So I grab the fat side, I put it on there, you know, I give it a couple taps, I let it come out, let's see, and just kind of get about that much. Then I'll spludge it onto the biggest kind of areas of my face. Up here too, my nose, under my nose, to my cheekbones. You want to make sure that you do go down to your neck, or at least where kind of this color will blend in, so that you don't have like a face that's one color and a neck that's a different color. And then I just start patting it across, getting into the creases on the side of your nose. I'm avoiding my eyes right now because that's where my eyeshadow is. I'm going to go around my eyebrows, under my eyes. I'm just kind of looking where my bare skin is and where the foundation is, and smoothing it all out and in. Under your nose, you can kind of see the skin there. Around here, I'm not going to go on my ears, but I will go down under them. I don't really need it for my eyes, but you can carefully go around if you just see that you need it. Just be very careful going onto the eyeshadow, because if you get eyeshadow on this, then you're going to start blotching eyeshadow on your face. So you'll need to like clean this off and do it again. Now, at this point, you don't want to use too much foundation. I may have just used a little too much, actually, but it's kind of fine. If you use too much, by the end of the day, it's going to get cakey, and it's going to dry out, and etc., etc. I have a NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer here, which I'm going to take. It's light to vanilla. You're going to have to find the one that matches your foundation, and someone can help you with that as well. I don't think they necessarily have the same kind of color toning, but also you want a concealer, I think, that is slightly lighter, if I'm getting that correct, than your foundation. So I just put some dots under my eyes. You can see it is lighter than my foundation. The reason for this is the lightness helps, in this case, to lighten under your eyes. Now I'm going to take the pointed end of the Beauty Blender and just tap that in. Okay, after you tap it in once, you can see it kind of looks like that. Just keep going until it's blended in with the surrounding foundation. And then you can kind of use this side too to help blend in under your eye. Okay, and then just come down here and blend across. That will help under your eye not look so dark if you have that problem. Do the same for the other side. This is something you can skip if you want to. It's not necessary. Okay, that helps. Now, after using the Beauty Blender, your hand's probably going to be a bit dirty, so wash your hand, dry it, so on. At this point, I do my eyebrows. There are eyebrow pencils you can get, crayons, all sorts of things. Right now, I'm using this Kat Von D eyebrow powder. So, just open it up. Now, I'm using this brush, which is, I just got this from a cheap set on Amazon. So, I mean, generally, the shape of the brush only matters in the sense of like how big it is and whether it's flat or round or whatever. You can get tons of like cheap brushes on Amazon, and then you can just use one brush for one particular product. Then you don't have to worry about it going from like light to dark or wet to dry and things like that. I find that to be useful. So for me, I just kind of get some on the top, and you want to start from the middle and follow the center of your eyebrow. You don't want to go too dark. I mean, it's a matter of preference. But you can see this one now looks more filled in than this one. That's what I'm going for. I'm going to do the same to the other side. Start from the center. The reason you start from the center is if you have a bunch of powder on your brush and you start from here, which your eyebrow's not going to be as thick as it is in the center, it's going to be more noticeable when you put that down. It's just going to be a big splotch here. Then you can move out to here. I need to get my eyebrows threaded to get them kind of neatened up and less bushy. I do suggest that you do that because thinner, more kind of trimmed eyebrows do help with an overall kind of feminine look. Okay. Now that I'm done with that, I'm going to put my blush on. I used to use a powder blush, and powder blush is fine, but I also have this NARS liquid blush. What I will do is I will just put a tiny bit on my finger. So that much is all you need. Now I press it onto my other finger, this, and then onto my middle fingers and kind of press it out so I get like a flat layer of it. And then I'm going to dab it on my cheeks and I'm going to smile so that it gives you more of a guide of where it should go. You just want to start on the apples of your cheeks, move up, and just keep patting until it's kind of all on. Okay, then you're going to wash your hands. I'm just going to use a makeup wipe because I don't have a sink near me right now. And then I do get my blush brush, the brush that I usually use for powder blush, and just blend it, going in like ovals like this, because that's kind of the edge of the area you want to have blush on. And do a little bit on your nose too, if you like. That looks cute. Okay. Then I'm going to do lipstick. Okay. I have this Bobbi Brown lipstick, which is kind of like, it looks kind of like a deeper red on the camera, but it is kind of just like a pink that's not too strong. Okay, to apply it, you can put it on your bottom lip and then transfer it if you have trouble applying it to your top lip. And that'll usually be fine for me. Depending on the look I want to go for, I can use a darker color. And then I will sometimes use a bit of gloss, lip gloss as well. But I only put a little bit. So just like one swipe and then transfer it. You can also use lip gloss to help blend lipstick. Like if you've got it and it's not going all the way to the edge, you can use the lip gloss because it's a little bit liquidy to help pull it across and blend it out a bit. Now your lips will feel a bit wet or sticky, whatever. I'm just gonna grab a tissue or a paper towel. I've got a Chipotle napkin and just give it a bite with your lips, and that will remove the excess, which will be good when you're like drinking Starbucks or something, so you don't get a whole lip print on something or someone. So that's pretty much it for doing the makeup. Now you'll want to set it. So I've got an Urban Decay all-nighter fixing spray. Just shake that up. They recommend doing like a spray in a T and an X. I just kind of zigzag across my face. Let that dry. It's at this point that I also do my perfume. That's just how it's part of my routine. So, okay, and then you're pretty much done. This is when I put on my glasses and you can take your hair down or whatever. And that's how I do my makeup. Thanks for watching.